Super Mario World. Or Mario World? By 9. That is not who made this. Welcome. Siest Dinosoro Terra. Indiasum strata carina comitium te princess pedestol. Sakan Mansgangler, like Linger Bowser on Dinos. No. I can't read that. Bowling attack. I like the sound of this. I don't like the sound of the castle opening, though. I feel like that's important. Scheme-like logo was very imperative. You can write scheme in a completely imperative format if you so desire. Just turns out most people don't want to do that. You know? Oh, I was about to say mistakes were made, but no, I actually didn't fail. Why they didn't use logo? Because Lua is trivial to embed into various other languages, or like your programming constructs. That probably wasn't what I wanted to do. But I wouldn't be able to hold on to a brick that long. Oh, those are thwomps. I'm actually kind of surprised it let me live here. Also could have cheesed this by jumping off the thwomp. But that's the reason why Lua was chosen for this guy's game, is because it's easy to embed into another environment. Like, it's often used in game development, not because anyone really likes it, but because it's kind of trivial to use. For game dev. I like how there's like one ninja every level. Or every area, at least. Oh, wait, that's a... I didn't even look at it. I assumed that it was a, a mushroom. That was kind of cool. Gonna crush me, isn't it? Yeah, let's not. Any doors in the following rooms are reset, with the exception of the one with an arrow next to it. Also, be careful right here. Okay. You can try. 34 has coins somewhere in it. I was confused, and I still am. Why is coding so complicated? Because you're giving... Huh? Except for this one. What is this one? Oh, wait. That's a reset door. Okay. This is clever, I think. Boing. While you hear a Yoshi sound, the game freezes for a split second. Take that time to react to tougher obstacles you see. Always a good sign. The thing about it with coding is, like, you're trying to teach a not terribly bright thing how to do something. The computer is, in fact, very dumb. So you have to give it very precise instructions. I don't know why I did that. Because of that. I really do like how few sprites there are per scan line. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Aha! And a dragon coin. I got one dragon coin. How long is this level? Uh-oh. Shouldn't have held A. But, yeah, that's kind of it. It's one of those things where, in general, I would greatly prefer to just, like, embed Python when given the option. But, no dice. Did this completely change? No. Once again, I love the singular ninja that just happens to grace us with his presence. Okay. No. That was confusing. Oh, weird how we use languages, or environments in other languages. Yes. I mean, I missed that point. The reason why we do that is actually pretty straightforward, as strange as that sounds, is because sometimes the expressiveness of a given language isn't enough. Like, you don't want to write an entire text adventure in C. No, I definitely think that the Yoshi thing is a bit of a troll. Like, I don't like to say it before we get fairly far in, but, like, this is 7-Up. 7-Up is a bit of a troll. In a fun way, typically. Not in a, I'm gonna make your van explode kind of way. That part, I'm not really sure what to do with yet. Really don't need to do that. I have that. I also saw the word boon, and my thoughts did not immediately move towards normal. Move towards thinking about the character sprite Boon. Kind of a classic. Oh, was it Tucha thing? He's not Nasky Cat, but I don't know exactly what he's from. Maybe being small here is actually helpful. No. Yoshi hates Mario in this entry? Yes, he does. Yoshi is actively trying to kill us. What's so bad about Lua? I just find it to be an ugly language. It borrows sort of the irritatingly imperative things I don't like about an awful lot of languages, and kind of feels very much in the way that the language BASIC does, with some constructs where, like, if, then you have your formal, conditional, at which point you have the then token, which is a bit weird. It's white space delineated, which you think, with me being a Python guy, wouldn't bug me, but with the way that I write Python, I find it quite annoying. With the way I write Lua, I find it quite annoying. It doesn't have any real arrays, it simply has tables. The way you have an array is you have an associative array of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is weird to me, because I always had heard that in Lua, arrays started at 1, which I think is true for the standard library, but you're welcome to not do that. And so you have this sort of mishmash of ideas that reminds me also a bit of PHP, in the sense that I don't think anyone sat down and said, let's make an elegant language so much as, well, let's just keep throwing stuff at the wall until it's good enough. I don't know why. I can't land on that fourth saw, which is what I need to do. I'm just gonna try holding A the whole time and see what happens, because I think, like, the Yoshi thing is making me want to do some, like, regrab stuff, and that's not the correct thing to do. Why? I didn't even do the thing I said I was gonna do. Anyway, for an awful lot of programming language stuff, it just kind of comes down to personal preference. What you learn, what you don't, what you like, what you don't. And I find Lua to be at sort of a level of abstraction that I don't really enjoy coding in it. Ah, there's cutoff. Oh, I game overed. Well, that's a problem. You know, I think I did notice that my lives were going down, but I didn't do anything about it. Guess I should see if there's a life farm or something. look, a life vine. Oh, it's this. Hello, see that shell in the water? You just wet yourself and don't have to press anything to die. Extra lives, also no free items. Sorry. It's compact, but it's not my favorite of the things. Like, if you're gonna do life farming, I feel just give me a bunch of moons, so at least I can have some fun jumping around. But I have to admit, this is pretty dang efficient. 90's good enough. But it's incredibly common to just say, like, well, this particular thing, this particular use case merits another language, and then you go and build out another language. Happens fairly frequently. Some interesting ones, I guess, that I've learned about. Google has a very specific language they use for writing, for parsing file formats. Which has interesting properties where you have to basically prove to the compiler, or it won't compile, that you're not going to go out of bounds. Which is why they use it to parse file formats. File formats are, at least binary ones, are intrinsically untrustworthy. Like, they typically have things like, I'm this long, here's how big I am decompressed in them. And then it's like, yes, but you could lie about it. And I'm going to lie so much about it. Which was a cause of an awful lot of bugs back in the day. But nowadays, like, you'd hope most people would sandbox off their file parsers. But then, as I guess people probably read about recently, then there's 4chan, that basically, straight up, was giving people access to GhostScript, which is just a bad idea. Like, GhostScript is a straight up... That's not what I wanted. None of that's what I wanted. Full PostScript environment. Or it gives you access to one. And so, if you choose to do that, you should be incredibly careful about what you let people do in that environment. Because PostScript is, in fact, a fully featured and usable language. Now, should you use it that way? No. But people have and done. PostScript is stack-based, which is kind of interesting. And in fact, PostScript... Shoot. A PostScript entry actually won the judge's prize in the ICFP contest 2007? 6? 7. Basically, the mad lad coded up almost his entire solution in... not PostScript, sorry, I misremembered. It wasn't PostScript. No, it was LaTeX. Which is even more of a mad lad thing to do. Don't see enough silver P-switch runs. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a silver P-switch run. Doesn't seem to be a common thing. Anyway, there we are. We're back at the beginning of where I was. It didn't take that long. It wasn't that bad. But yeah, now the LaTeX one was even ballsier. Almost had it. Because LaTeX is not designed for doing anything. Like, PostScript is a fully featured, well, a somewhat fully featured language. It's just stack-based and a bit kind of clunky. LaTeX is meant for laying out academic papers. That's all it's meant for. That's all it's ever been meant for. But he managed to find various ways, and of course when you're laying out academic paper, you may want to do things like have a diagram and define, use different drawing primitives to draw your data out instead of including a picture. Think like vector drawing. There, well, not gonna get that. I think it just throws me off. Like, the Yoshi thing just makes this level weirder. But yeah, it was a fun write-up to read. how he managed to do it. Part of it, he did actually end up putting some Pearl on both ends because he needed sockets, and no one's been crazy enough to code sockets into LaTeX. Because why? Like, you're composing a paper, it probably shouldn't need to connect to Google. Ah, it is so annoying. That and time stuff. Times turned out to be important. That year, the conceit was you were helping a Mars rover move back to a specific location. So you'd spawn on, like, the edge of the map, and your goal was to get the rover back. And, of course, you didn't have actual, like, good map data. You received what the rover saw, but over a slow and somewhat irritating connection. Simulated connection, because it wasn't actually on Mars. You know how that works. Yeah, that was way bad. One thing I can say is at least I'm not spending a lot of time getting back to there for an auto-scroller. At least I thought I wasn't. Let's reset it? Nope. I don't know what I was thinking. That really didn't work. That also didn't work. That works just fine. I take it back. I think I've discovered what he actually wanted me to do. But yeah, that's one of the fun things about the ICFP programming contest is you can end up programming in all sorts of weird languages and environments you're not usually going to. And 2006's was particularly good about this because pretty much it was four or five or six different challenges? Some of them were kind of Black Knots was not very interesting. The key conceit of that one was like you're making Plinko devices and you need to make them regulation Plinko devices. Because otherwise the kids won't have fun with them, or something like that. It was a very weird setup. But basically you had a bunch of, numbers at the top, and then they were sorted differently at the bottom, and you had to do swaps, pairwise swaps, to actually move them over, and that was the important bit. And because you were verifying these locally on your own VM, either optimizing the solutions or the VM itself was sort of an important part of the contest. Nope. And then there was, what were the other ones? You had ant brains, which I didn't really care about, but it was about like figuring out how to encode your ant stuff into a state machine. It was cute. The best part was after you finished writing your initial VM, you logged into the machine and you were presented with a password cracker. Well, so basically, once you successfully did it, and then virtual machine to write was relatively simple. That part. Simple to get running in practice, but you could be really slow, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the first time you ran, it'd be like, okay, you finally passed the checks, you can now log into the system now. Presented you with a login to Umix, which was cool. And you then logged in as the guest user, because you didn't have an account, of course. That's how you do these sorts of things. And you were presented with, a standard Unix... crap. I need to remember to run ahead here. There we go. I don't know why that's so hard. Just need to hold on to it. But yeah, when you poked around, you could check your mail, you could see a bunch of things. You got a few little point tokens along the way whenever you did one of these things. Like checking your mail was worth some points, and there were some points for just logging in. But if you looked in like the temp directory, you saw that someone had written a password cracking script. If you run it, it presented you with, I think, at least one password that was usable. You could log in as a different user. But it did mention in the comments of the yeah, I don't care. OLDC4. The one time I managed to succeed, I don't get all the dragon coins. For technical reasons, you have to wait a bit longer than usual for the goal sequence after Big Boo boss defeat. Alright, well I'm here now. Oh wait. Don't mind Big Boo's boss appearance. It's just its cursed form. Kamek must have messed something up. Sorry for the fake advertising in the overworld. Huh. Okay. There's a lot going on here that is confusing to me. A bad feeling I'm gonna end up at the beginning of this again. Okay, that happens sometimes. I guess that's what it wants me to do. This isn't that hard. Not sure why there was the backup one. Assuming there's no way to make it take 4, which there wasn't. Because it did take a little bit extra time, but it didn't take that much extra time. That was weird. That whole level was weird. That auto-scroller was really... I don't know. The Yoshi thing didn't really add much to it. Just made it more annoying, I think. Ooh, credits. I got all the Yoshi coins separately, so it's probably okay. Level by yours truly. Tested by Optimistic. And then the level ends. And I'm trapped here forever, aren't I? Side exit? Yes, side exit. Thanks for the GG. Yeah, it was an interesting level, just... I cannot believe I missed the life farm. But, yeah, it was decent. I expect it'll do okay. My guess is probably somewhere in the top third, but not top 10. I don't know. I guess there's only 40 entries, so that puts it in a pretty narrow band. Hard to guess. Maybe that's what I should do for these things, is make a guess as to where I think they'll end up landing in the line. But I might not finish these before I get there, so I don't know. We'll see. Or before the judges finish judging.